Well, hello there, and welcome to this episode of the Terri Cole Show. That I want to start with a question. When something bad happens to your partner, does it feel like it's actually happening to you? Or are you compelled to fix what you see as the problems in their life? Are you always trying to help them be better, help them do something better, be more efficient, anything like that? You're always trying to help them not get in trouble, not be in a bad situation. If you're nodding your head yes, then you might just be in a codependent relationship. So in today's video, I'm breaking down what is codependency, and I'm also asking you a bunch of really powerful questions so that you can gain clarity about your own codependent behaviors, which, clarity about them is the first step in changing them. So before we get moving, I'm Terri Cole. If you don't know me, I'm a licensed psychotherapist, a relationship expert, and the author of Boundary Boss, which you can get at boundarybossbook.com. So if you happen to be new here to this YouTube channel, say hello in the comments. We actually are a very friendly group, a very active group. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell, the notification bell, so that you get notified every time I roll out something new, which is every Tuesday and every Thursday. And hey, I wouldn't want you to miss the thing, because really you're the one that I'm creating all this free content for. I love to highlight your comments. So thank you for all the questions and the comments that you guys are always so actively putting in. You know that I read everything. Most people watch Netflix. I go on my YouTube channel and read your comments and respond. I'd like to highlight Ava's comment under the video, Boundary Setting Success, How You Say It Matters. And Ava writes, "Thank you so much, Terri. I really needed to hear this today. My whole system feels more settled now. Your presence feels so grounded in the knowing of our right to take care of ourselves and set boundaries, even when it might be difficult for others, which is their right to feel that way too. Grateful to you for sharing your wisdom with us." Well, Ava, I'm grateful for you for taking the time to write that, because literally you are the people I am doing it for. So I love that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's move on to the rest of today's episode. So, codependent behavior. What is it? This is a dysfunctional behavioral pattern in which you are overly invested in and have a desire to control the feeling states, decisions, and outcomes of others. And here's the thing. It's got to be to the detriment of your own internal peace, your own psychological well-being. It's got to be to the detriment of something, because a lot of times as codependents, we will prioritize taking care of others before taking care of ourselves. If you're this person in a relationship, you might be giving too much time, energy, or focus on the other person who, consciously or unconsciously, might be taking advantage of that situation in order to get their needs met or their desires met. A lot of times there's codependency with substance abuse, someone enabling, but that's not all. I see it in my therapy practice and have for the last 25 years. It's so common that there is an over-functioning and an under-functioning dynamic in so many of the relationships that I've seen and that what people write in to talk to me about. So, first of all, if this resonates with you, you're not alone. And here's the thing. This is not a terminal condition, which is amazing. So if what you're recognizing is that, yes, you are overly invested in the feeling states, the outcomes, the decisions, the life, the friends, the whole thing of your partner or someone in your life, this is just behavioral patterns. And yeah, they're disordered without a doubt, but you can change it. So if you're confused about, is it you, is it not you, I'm going to ask you some questions and I want you to be really honest, and I'm going to put them in the guide for you. So don't worry, terricole.com/guide. But I really want you to listen, to honestly think, because the key to recovery from codependency is self-knowledge, right? I have my 5 pillars of transformation that I teach everything that I've created based on. And pillar number 1 is self-awareness. And then we move into self-knowledge. And then we move into self-acceptance. Not just accepting ourselves, right? That means accepting what we experienced in life, Then we move into self-compassion, that's the fourth pillar, and then we move into self-mastery or self-transformation. So much of what we want to change, the way it's going to be changed, is through raising our awareness. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to think about it, and then we'll get into some things that you can do. Do you feel like your partner's needs are more important than your own? And here's the thing. You may not consciously or actively think that, but do you act that way? Right? If you're in a perfectly good mood and your partner comes home and they're in a crappy mood, are you suddenly sort of dancing as fast as you can to try to change their feeling state? Have them look on the bright side, make them a drink, make them food, rather than just being able to be with them and allowing them to sort of have their feelings and have the separateness. Because when we think about codependency, there's so much merging that goes on. We don't have the ability, when we're being actively codependent, to be clear about what is on my side of the street and what is on someone else's side of the street, meaning the partner's side of the street. So it's taking responsibility and feeling responsible almost for their bad mood. Not that you caused it per se, but that you are responsible for shifting it. The next question is it hard for you to express your needs and your preferences? Are you more of the go along to get along person in your relationship? Do you find reasons to not assert your needs, right? If you prioritize their needs over your own, are you finding that your needs just end up at the bottom of your to-do list or never even on your to-do list? And really, it's like your need to manage them and make sure they're okay supersedes your need to get your own need met. So I want you to think about that. Is it hard for you to ask for what you need, to express your preferences, your desires, what you want? How often do you actually do that? The next question is, do you identify as doing most of the giving in the relationship, but receive little help in return? Is there sort of a lack of mutuality in the relationship? So think about how much you do for the other person. And this isn't because I want you to get all tit for tatty, right? That's not what we're talking about. But really think about, how much do you do for the other person? How much are you organizing around what they want? Are you overgiving? Are you overfunctioning? Are you doing all of the emotional labor in the household? Meaning, so what is emotional labor? It is the invisible and undervalued labor that is required to keep a household running, to keep an apartment running, to keep anything running, right? Someone is doing those day-to-day tasks that keep food in the refrigerator, food on the table, toilet paper in the bathroom. Obviously, we know that shit doesn't do itself, right? So someone is actually doing that. And the question is, are you doing that? All right, next question. Do you do things for the other person, for your partner, that they can and should be doing for themselves? And this can also apply to adult children, right? Are you doing laundry for a 28-year-old? Are you paying insurance for a 32-year-old? Or are you doing all of these things for your partner? Things that they can and should be doing for themselves. Getting them the birthday card to send to their mother that you will send. Making sure that that gets done. Picking up all the things they need. Picking up the dry cleaning. Making sure the laundry gets done. Your partner is probably a very capable person. But do you find that you're doing things for them that they can and should be doing for themselves? Next question. Is it difficult for you to separate your feeling states and identity from the other person? And I kind of talked about that at the top, where if your feeling state is fine and they come in a terrible mood, does their mood, because you're so merged, does their mood supersede yours? Right? This separate identity, because a lot of people become a we in a way that is unhealthy. It's like they only know themselves in relation to the other person. And of course, we have lots of love songs and movies and lots of things that tell us that this is the way love should really be. I'm nothing without you, or, you complete me, quote unquote, like in Jerry Maguire, that movie. And the truth is, that's a very codependent way of looking at a relationship, because literally it's impossible for another person to complete you. And you can feel at home in a relationship and you can get a lot of satisfaction out of a relationship, but that thing does not complete you. You are whole on your own, right? A good relationship can be like icing on a delicious, perfectly robust and amazing cake. You're the cake. You know what I mean? Like you're good without the other person. And so I think that a lot of love, like in the myths around love, is that we're not good without the other person. And yet, to be a healthy human, you actually need to figure out how to be good within yourself. Are you afraid of rejection or of being abandoned in your relationships? Because a lot of times this drives codependent behavior, but a lot of this stuff is unconscious. So you might not even be aware that that's what's getting kicked up for you. But really think about it. Are you afraid of rejection? Are you afraid of their disapproval? Are you afraid of being abandoned? Next question, do you rely on the validation of others to feel valuable, to feel worthy? Do you find it difficult to give that to yourself, or do you find it that difficult? Your worthiness, is it based on what you do? Is it based on other people sort of being pleased with you, being happy with you? If you're not doing for others, how do you feel about yourself? Next question, is your communication ineffective? When there's an issue, do you either fight about it or avoid the conversation altogether? Because ineffective communication, a lot of times in codependent relationships, we are acting out the things that we're not saying, right? We are just jumping to doing more than we need to be doing. So the more yes answers you have on that, the more codependent you are. So there's other things that can identify beliefs in a codependent relationship. I'm just going to go through them quickly. You may feel like you can't live without the other person. Like you actually may be so enmeshed that you feel like if you were to leave them, that you would like actually die. So there's a deep dysfunctional connection if you feel that way, right? Because it's one thing to be like, I'd be devastated, right? If my husband up and left me today, I don't even want to say that, but if he did, I would be devastated for a long time. But I can even right now imagine a life without him because I have a life. I don't want to, but I could. So many of these underlying patterns start in childhood, right? And in childhood, when something goes wrong or there's a problem, it feels very life or death because we don't have the skills to fix it, basically. So it's like everything feels so. So we bond with our caregivers in this intense way. It's almost like trauma bonding when you have a really dysfunctional childhood. This can be playing out unconsciously. This like, I definitely need you, because think about kids. We did need our caregivers, right? We don't have the capacity to like get our own apartment and do what we're doing on our own. We already hit the overgiving, the self-sacrificing piece. Though if you feel like you need to self-sacrifice, what does it look like? It looks like helping others at the expense of your own mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being. Some of us really hold this as a badge of honor, and yet it's so unhealthy for us. The communication challenges are real in dysfunctional relationships, and I think that that's something that you can always work to get better at, but you have to think about how you're feeling, why you're doing what you're doing. And I have to say, when I was really actively codependent in my 20s, there was a pattern in the people that I would attract. Someone who I could help, someone who I could make better. It's like I had this tendency to find the broken winged bird, you know? And I was always like, if you've got a problem, yay, I'm here to fix it. I can't wait. And even it was like this compulsion to fix, this compulsion. And when we think about codependency, if we are enabling others to underfunction, if we're enabling an addict or someone who is a gambler or whatever by continuing to give them money or basic enabling behaviors, that is a compulsion on our part as well, right? You might have this experience with addiction, with domestic abuse, with narcissists, where it's someone who's not taking responsibility for their part. And they're sort of, in some ways, happy to have you do all the things that you're doing. And yet, what will this leave you and why do we care? Why do I want you to be able to identify if you're in a codependent relationship or if you have a tendency to go this way? Is because you can't do it forever without becoming so burnt out, bitter, exhausted. You become a martyr in your own life, which of course you don't want to do. It is no fun. So I hope that this opened your eyes, that there was something in here that gave you an aha moment, that you can pivot towards healthier relating in your relationships. Because this is something that it is a thankless job. And even if you're really good at it, like many of us are good at sort of hiding behind codependency because we make the other people front and center, and there's some kind of safety in that, but there's not a lot of satisfaction in that. So I put these questions in the guide for you, and I'm going to ask you to elaborate a little bit on there. What are the ones that resonated with you the most? Because knowledge is power, and the more you know about how you're functioning right now, the easier it will be to put yourself in a position to change how you're functioning. So I hope that this added value to your life. I hope you guys learned something about yourself. And as always, take care of you.